Hey there guys, today we're going to learn how to make a sourdough loaf. I do this the easy way, they call it the unloaf method. But I'm going to do a double batch because I'm actually going to make 2 loaves. So everything I tell you, just cut it in half. So first and foremost, we're going to get our scale, we're going to zero it out with the bowl on it. We're going to do 800 grams of water. I usually do like kind of warm water. It doesn't need to be hot or anything, just a little bit warm. It helps it just to proof a little faster. Oh, still not quite enough. Again, tap water is just fine. People always make a big deal about tap water and sourdough. You can absolutely use tap water, it's fine. And then once you get your water in there, you're gonna zero your scale out again, and you're gonna go in with 330 grams of your sourdough starter. And I have 2 jars here because I don't have a jar big enough for some reason. So we're gonna go in with 330 grams. Sometimes it may not quite be enough, and that's okay if it's not. It just means a slower fermentation time. Let's see, get it in there. So that jar gave us about 175. And this jar is going to probably put us just barely right there. Yep. 330 grams of sourdough starter. And then you're going to take it off the scale, and you're going to mix this up. So you want it kind of bubbly. And you want to just make sure that all that starter is broken down. And again, I'm using a Danish bread whisk here. You can use a silicone spatula, a wood spoon, whatever is fine, to mix it up. But you want it kind of frothy and bubbly like this. And then you're going to set that to the side. I'm gonna put it back on your scale, zero it out, and you're going to do about 1,300 grams of flour. I use unbleached all-purpose flour. It's going to seem like a lot. It is a lot because I'm making 2 loaves. I'm actually probably gonna have to switch it over to my bigger container. This one might not be big enough. So we're at about 1,300 grams of flour there. And then to that, you're gonna make kind of a little well here. And you're gonna zero out your scale one more time. And you're gonna add about 30 grams of kosher salt, which I know seems like a whole hell of a lot of salt, but for 2 loaves of bread, this isn't that much, actually. Okay. Then once you get it set in there, you're going to kind of mix the salt in with the flour like this on the top. Take it off the scale again. Ugh. And then you're just gonna start mixing all this up. And the goal here is just to create like a little shaggy dough. Let me mix this and I'll come back. Okay, after a few minutes of mixing, we got it to the shaggy dough state. This is what you're looking for. And now you want to let this sit for a little while. Because this is supposed to be a more uncomplicated method, we're not going to do a whole bunch of stretch and folds, which you may hear a lot if you do like sourdough research and all of that. So this one, we're just going to let it rest for maybe an hour or so. And then we'll come in and do like 1 set of stretch and folds just to kind of give it a little bit of structure. And then we'll go from there and I'll show y'all what to do next. Okay, and we're back. It's been a few hours. It's been about 5 or 6 hours now. So you'll know that your dough is ready when it's grown about 50% of where it was at. You don't want it to double like you do traditional yeast bread. And then with a damp finger, if you can touch it and the dough doesn't stick to you and it slowly fills itself in, then that means it is ready to go. So what you're gonna do is you're going to, on a clean countertop, no flour or anything, you're going to dump your dough, and it may take a minute. Sometimes it does. You might have to coax it out a little bit. It'll come. Just give it a minute. And here she comes. Big giant dough ball. Getting the excess out of the bowl here. Sometimes there will be excess, sometimes there won't be. It just depends on how long you let it sit for before you scoop it out. So now this, like I said, this is gonna make 2 loaves. So now I'm gonna split the dough down the middle as evenly as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? But as evenly as possible. I'm gonna roll one of them away for now. The other one, you're gonna take it, you're gonna stretch it out. It's gonna be a little sticky, that's normal. It's okay if it's a little sticky. You're gonna stretch it out into a rectangle, and then you're gonna take and you're gonna fold shoulder, shoulder, like this, and then you're going to roll it up into a ball, and you're gonna shape it just like this into a nice little taut ball. Now this one is just gonna be a plain loaf, so I'm gonna take that one and set it to the side. This other one, let me move this one over here. This other one is going to be a cheddar cheese loaf. So you're going to take your dough again, spread it out into a nice wide rectangle. A good way to tell if your dough is ready as well is if it can pass the window pane test, which means you can stretch it and you can kind of see through it, but it doesn't rip. So you'll spread this out, and then we're going to take our freshly shredded cheese. Do not use pre-bagged shredded cheese. It has to be freshly shredded, or cubed is fine as well. I think shredded melts a little easier and doesn't make the dough as weird, or create big holes in your bread. Then you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna tuck shoulder, shoulder, over here, over here. You're gonna sprinkle more cheese. Try to get it all in there. And you're gonna fold all that cheese in there, try to tuck it away. And you'll do push-pulls, that's what we call this. And then you've got your nice tight little cheddar cheese loaf there. We'll set that off to the side. This one kind of lost a little bit of shape. I didn't push-pull it long enough, I don't think. You'll know because your dough will get a nice tight ball like that. You should be able to kind of boop. And then these will sit on the counter for about an hour, and we'll kind of reshape them here in a little bit, but they'll sit on the counter for about an hour and relax. We'll reshape them, and then we'll put them in lightly floured banneton baskets, and then we will stick them in the fridge overnight. So we'll come back in about an hour whenever these have rested for a little bit. All right, we are back. It has been about an hour or so. You can see that they kind of lose their shape a little bit when they sit on the counter to relax. So what you're gonna do is you're going to just grab it around the edges and do some more of those push and pulls, just to, again, create some tension on the top. And then you're going to take something like a bench scraper or something like this. You want to pop any bubbles on the surface too, if you can. And you want to take your little banneton basket here, and you want to take it, you want to flip it, and then you want to pinch it together, or stitch it is another thing, that's what we call it, and make it a cute little neat package. And then you want to, I buy like a pack of like a gajillion shower caps on Amazon, and you want to cover that. And then the second one over here, we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to shape it up into a nice neat little package, pop any surface bubbles as you see them. Like that little guy right there. If the more big bubbles you have, the more big holes you're gonna have in your bread. So you wanna try to avoid those as much as possible. Take our other little banneton basket here. We're gonna scoop this guy up, flip him over, and again, kind of stitch them together. You just want to create a lot of tension. So pull the center all together just like this. And then another little shower cap. And I buy these because they come in a huge pack and you can throw them away afterwards. And then you're gonna put them in the refrigerator for overnight, and we'll check on them in the morning and bake them. All right, it is the next day and now we are ready to bake. You see they're nice and fluffy, they're not sticky. And we'll get our bread sling, or you can do parchment paper. I like these bread slings. It makes it a lot easier to get them out of the Dutch oven. And you're just gonna flip it and pull your banneton basket off. Kind of spread that little bit of flour that's still left on top around. And this is where you're gonna do your scoring. So score at your own liberties, do whatever you want. If you want to put some weird stuff on your bread, be my guest. If you want to just do the little wheat stalks, that's usually what I do. And then I'll do a couple of those. And then I'll do just a big score. Make sure you get it kind of deep with the score. That way you have a good ear on your bread. You see how it's kind of spreading out a little bit? That's normal. So we're going to put this, whoa, hey guy, calm down. We're going to put this into our Dutch oven. We'll put the lid on him. And then we'll do the same thing with this cheddar loaf. There's a bubble here. You want to pop that bubble because otherwise it's going to create a big hole in your bread. So if you see any visible big bubbles, pop them before you bake them. Flip it. Spread that around. Make your little scores. Another big score right here. And then we'll pop this one in the other Dutch oven. And then we are going to put these guys into a cold oven with a cold start lid on. Started at 450 degrees. You're going to bake for 1 hour. And then after the hour, you're going to wait, or you're going to take the lids off and bake for another 10 minutes. And we'll come back when they're done. All right, so the loaves are done. I took them out of the oven now. This is the cheddar loaf. These are cooled down. They've been cooling down for quite some time. So we're going to cut this in half and see what crumb looks like. All right, I haven't done a cheddar loaf yet, so this is a first. Ooh, that actually looks really good. Look at that. Wow, smells good too. So that's our cheddar loaf. That's what your crumb should look like. This is our regular loaf. It kind of spread out quite a bit, but it's still got some good height to it as well. And that is our regular loaf. Nice open crumb. It springs back quickly, which is what you're looking for. And that's how you make a loaf of sourdough.